yeah. How are you, folks? Welcome to the show on a Wednesday. Streaming live on YouTube.
We'll do it live.
Yes, we will.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live.
I am, Bill. Relax.
I want all of you to enjoy your cake. So, enjoy.
This episode of the Nick DiPaolo Show brought to you by BlueChew.com. Gentlemen, you remember the days when you were always ready to go, back when you would finish with a lady and then be ready to perform again? And when you performed, it was never at three-quarters mast. No, it was always at full mast. But like all things, age catches up and can impact your performance. But thanks to our sponsor, BlueChew.com, you can increase your performance and get some extra firepower in bed for free with promo code NICK. Excuse me. BlueChew.com. That's blue like the color, blue, and chew, because BlueChew.com has created the first chewable supplement packed with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. Since they're chewable, they work up to twice as fast as a pill, so you can be ready whenever the opportunity arises. Excuse me. Have another cigarette. With Blue Chew, you'll be at 100% whenever you need to be. And not only that, but it can shorten your recovery period if you want to go again in the same night. Who doesn't want to do that, folks? Blue Chew ships straight to your door in a discreet package. You know what that means? There's no in-person doctor's visit, no waiting in the pharmacy, and best of all, I've been told, it gets you ready to go faster. What's not to love? They're made in the USA, and since Blue Chew prepares and ships direct, they're cheaper than a pharmacy. And here's the deal, folks. Listen closely. Visit BlueChew.com. Get your first shipment free. That's right, free, when you use our special promo code NICK. Just pay $5 in shipping. Again, that's BlueChew.com. Promo code NICK, N-I-C-K, to try it for free. We thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the Nick DiPaolo Show, and we really do. Hey, real quick. Dates, you get these at nickdip.com. This Saturday, I'll be at Bobby V's in Windsor Locks, Connecticut. Friday, January 25th, at Comedy Palace in San Diego. That morning, I'll be on with Joe Rogan on his show. Sunday, January 27th, at Ventura Harbor Comedy Club, Ventura, California. Friday and Saturday, February 8th and 9th, the Black Box in Boca Raton, Florida. Friday, March 8th, Wood Theater, Glens Falls, New York. Saturday, March 9th, Cohoes Hall in Cohoes, New York. I'll be shooting an hour. Friday, April 26th, Steel Stacks, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Friday, May 31st, Jonathan's at Gunkwit, Maine. Saturday, June 1, Whites of Westport, Mass. Saturday, August 10th, Newtown Theater, Newtown, Pennsylvania. And Saturday, October 19th, Ridgefield Playhouse, Ridgefield, Connecticut. NickDip.com for all the ticket information. As you guys remember, by 833-59-NICK is the number, 833-599-6425. You remember this summer I reported on a real tragedy. This young guy from Florida came to Queens, New York, Long Island City for his stepsister's wedding. After the wedding, he left the hotel. He had called an Uber and went outside, knocked on a few cars. He didn't know which ones were his, knocked on the windows, whatever. And then somebody went by in a white BMW, a black dude, rolled down his window, said something. I guess things escalated, and the black dude, who's an assistant coach at Wake Forest, punched this kid, this young guy who wasn't looking for any trouble. Kid ended up getting knocked out and banging his head when he fell and died a couple days later. We talked about it for a while. Excuse me. And it's just horrible. And right now, joining us, his mom, Donna Kent. Her son's name was Shandor Sabo, and Donna's going to join us right now on Skype, I believe, and to talk about this and what she's gone through. Just a horrible tragedy. Donna, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you for joining me, and again, my condolences. I can't imagine what you're going through to lose somebody like that. Senseless act of violence and this human piece of filth that did it. Those are my words, not Donna's, by the way. But I appreciate you joining us. I talked to you on the phone yesterday, and you were telling me more of the details of what you went through. It's hard enough that you went through this tragedy, but then to go to a legal system thinking it's going to be just, right. And it turns into even a bigger obstacle for you because in New York, they don't know how to define this, and you had some prosecutors that were more worried about winning. You said,
Right.
and they are, because they want it on their record as a win.
Exactly.
And so if you could explain to my listeners, Donna, what do you think this Mr. What's his first name? Jamel Jones, assistant
Right.
Wake Forest coach, who's been suspended. I don't even think he's been fired yet, has he, officially?
He's not. He's suspended with pay.
Yeah,
And he's not been fired yet.
unbelievable. But tell us what you were expecting as far as the legal system and what you ran into, and if you could explain to me what you told me yesterday about the prosecutors and.
It took 21 days for anybody to reach out to us from New York Queens District Attorney. We called day after day ever since the day my son was pronounced dead. We started not knowing what we were supposed to do. It took them 21 days with us begging every day to even meet with them. We had to hear everything about my son's case from the news. And of course, the reports were all over. We couldn't imagine, our son, our brother, doing the things that the news was reporting he did.
Right.
So as we finally got to meet them, insisting to meet them, our first meeting was so bizarre. They seemed to accuse Shondor for his own murder because he was drunk. So we had a hard time understanding what they were saying. They said, well, he was punching on cars. The head DA in charge of the case said, well, any reasonable New Yorker would get out and punch somebody. And I thought, that's our DA saying that.
Was that the woman, Jackie? Is that her name?
No, his name was Daniel Saunders. He's the criminal. But Jackie Risk was in charge of our case.
Can I ask you a question? And again, this is me, and this is how I think. I know Jackie was a black woman.
She is.
Well, Mr. Saunders was what?
White. He's white. He's just the head DA, very worried about his success rate.
Right.
He came in and boasted for probably 20 minutes on how his prosecution rate was nearly 90%. He doesn't lose a case, but how could you, if you prosecute somebody for murder and charge them littering, you're going to win.
Right.
Yeah, there's no way you're not going to win for having such a low charge. So the meeting was a disaster. They kept on telling us that that's what Shondor was doing, and so my younger son insisted on seeing the tape. Dominic, and there are two tapes of the entire murder. So I, of course, didn't want to see it the first time.
Of course.
But after everybody came out, our attorneys, we've had to hire attorneys to watch the district attorneys because they've been doing so many things that are not right, that are absolutely against their code of ethics, what they promised to do as prosecutors. And so we've been forced to hire attorneys to watch what the district attorneys do. But as victims, and you learn this, I had no idea, as a victim, you have no right to choose your attorney. Whereas Jamel Jones can hire any attorney he wants, the most famous attorney. We're stuck with public prosecutors who don't care. They're just getting them through the system. And so we have a team of attorneys, Pierce Bainbridge, they're amazing in New York. They have every reason to say why this is a homicide.
How did you find them, Donna?
I was listening to Fox News, and one of their legal analysts, Emily Compagno, was on talking about our case with another attorney.
Right.
And as I listened to the argument, I thought, she's right. This is the right argument, the way she was expressing it. So I actually emailed her, and she got back to me and said, this is who you need to use. Because we know nothing about attorneys in New York. So it was amazing that she actually took the time to respond. I'm sure she gets a lot of emails. So
yeah, but this was such a tragedy. I mean, it was national news. I mean, Fox News is talking about it, and a miscarriage of injustice. I'm guessing that's why they were discussing it in the first place. And tell us a little bit about what it's murder in my eyes, and what do they pleaded down to? What are they trying to charge him with?
It's a third-degree assault, which is a misdemeanor, and that's it. Possibly no jail time at all.
Taking somebody's life with a punch.
They're basing it on a 1983 case. They kept on telling me it's the law in New York. That's just the way the New York law is. It's a third-degree assault, and I kept on questioning it because that doesn't seem right to anybody. So was that the
Romero case you're talking about in 1980?
Well, no, Romero was recently. That was just about, yes. But one of the very first cases that New York did was in 1983. Yeah. And it was called People versus Irby. It is not similar in any fashion to my son's case.
Right.
But New York tends to kind of go back to that very first, ruling where the judge did rule third-degree assault. But since then, there have been a lot of cases in New York where it has been a negligent homicide, criminally negligent homicide. So we're trying to understand, why are they basing it on People versus Irby, which is in no way similar to my son's case, where there's People versus Haller, which is exactly like my son's case in New York. Right. That was found to be a homicide. So we can understand why they're taking that case. There's no reason why they have to choose that case, except for they might have to fight.
Tell us a little about the first prosecutor. It was
Jackie Resk.
Yeah, she tell the people. And we talked about this on my show too. If you guys remember, a couple of years ago, there was an incident on the Upper West Side with a bunch of bikers surrounded this guy in his car. They thought he had cut him off or whatever, and they started banging on his car and breaking his windows. And he took off and he hit a couple of people. And there was a cop involved who was actually threatening the guy in the car. And that is Jackie's husband or boyfriend?
Jackie's boyfriend. And so as I was trying to understand where Jackie was coming from, she responded to 4 of 37 emails I wrote to her.
Yeah, there you go.
She was dismissive, didn't answer a question. The response, she'd go, "Oh, I'll ask the higher ups." But no, I was trying to figure out a way to say, what does it take to prosecute this? And so as I did research on her, I saw that she was arrested for disorderly contact assault because she and her boyfriend got drunk just after that incident. They were drunk at 10 a.m. in the morning, and the police were called. And so when they were called, the boyfriend got angry, punched the police officer. Jackie jumped on the police officer's back. They were hauled to jail.
And he's a cop. Her boyfriend's a cop.
Exactly.
He's a cop. She's a prosecutor, and this is how they behave. Can we lower the standards anymore in this country, folks, out of fairness? Again, I'm saying that, not Donna. But
what's so hard to understand is 2 weeks later, after that, she sues New York City for $10 million. And after that, we can't find anything. So did she go to court? What happened? Because you and I, if we would have done that, we would have had a record. Of course. Something would have. We can't find a charge. So it's interesting that they want to uphold the law as long as it's not their friend. So I'm seeing corruption, and it's just really hard for us. Jamil Jones didn't even show up for his first court case on December 2nd when Jackie was still our DA, and the judge was furious. She was like, every other defendant's here, and his attorney was like, well, pretty much Jamil didn't want to show up. He's famous. He didn't want to be in the spotlight. And the judge was, you cannot just not show up for a court case. And so he said that, he goes, well, how about if I tried to get him here this afternoon? So the judge said to our DA, I have every mind to issue a warrant for his arrest for failure to appear. And she said, how do you feel? And our DA went, nah, it's okay as long as he shows up this afternoon. Instead of taking that opportunity to say, yes, he's not here, she said, it's okay as long as he shows up.
Well, now, and again, I know you don't think like, I assume you don't. But I've been saying there's a racial component. Your son was a white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed white boy. This guy's black. I'm sorry, and I've been saying this about black juries, and again, not all black people, but I'm sorry. I don't think in situations like this, and it wasn't racial, I mean, there was a black guy and a white guy involved. I'm not saying that's what escalated it, but I'm just saying I don't trust, and again, this is me, folks. This isn't Donna Kent saying it. I don't trust that some black people in the legal system or when the jurors can be objective when this type of stuff involved. As long as we have this mentality in this country because of slavery and past injustices, and they have a chip on their shoulder, I'm telling you, it affects stuff like this. That's my personal opinion. And I know a lot of other people agree with me. I'm not saying necessarily that Donna does, but I can't help it. I read the papers, and I'm sorry.
I can understand that. I could understand what you're saying, but our very justice system, we become victims of. And I never thought that was possible in America. How could we be victims of the very system that was set up to protect us?
Yeah.
And they do really a lot more to protect the criminals instead of the victim. And so and there was really no, when you say, I don't know, the term you just used, but there was no interaction with my son and Jamel Jones, not a second
Right.
of interaction. There were no name callings, nothing happened. My son was simply trying to wave down a car.
But you talk about the legal system, it's supposed to serve us and not the other way around. Number one. Number two, are you going to tell me if the races were reversed in this situation? You know what I mean? And your son got out of the car and punched a black guy and he banged his head. You going to tell me he'd be treated the same as your son was? I don't believe it for a second. Not in New York City, I don't.
And I tried forever to not make this a racial issue.
I know, I'm sorry.
I've been trying and trying. But every single thing I see with people, because you can imagine the tweets, the things I get in email, the Facebook harassment or the Facebook nice things, and a majority are saying to me, and I don't know Jamel Jones, I don't know what it was in his heart. It's never been on our family's heart. If you're bad, you're bad. If you're good, you're good. You can be white, black, whatever. But he is a bad person, and they said everybody knows he hated white people. And so we've had anonymous calls saying that they know exactly what we see the video, we see exactly what happened, but we don't hear the words.
But you said he used the word white boy, did he not?
That's what we were told. That we were wondering when he passed by my son.
Yeah.
My son had zero interaction, no punching on cars like you may have read.
Right.
Not one punch. Jamil drove by my son. My son waved down. It's 1:15 in the morning. And so you see his brake lights go on.
Yep.
He reverses his car. And so obviously my son's like, oh my gosh, finally an Uber, after sitting there 20 minutes
Right.
on the corner trying to wave somebody down.
Right.
Not hurting anybody, 20 minutes standing there. Jamil backed up. You see his brake lights go on again. My son approaches his car on the passenger side. And then for some reason, he walks to the back of the car. And for about 2 seconds, you can't see him because the brake lights are so bright, it's interfering with the camera.
Yeah.
And then my son turns around and starts walking. And Jamel got out, not just walking casually, he got out with such force, he bolted out of his car, and he had a very tight shirt on. So you see his muscles as he's running like a sprinter would. And my son's back was toward him. He obviously heard Jamel rushing at him. He turned around, put his hands up like, I give up, and Jamel just punched him. But what was the most disturbing is after he punched him, he sat down and looked at him, it squared off his shoulders like, I'm the man.
Yeah,
Looks
he's a
at
punk.
him.
He's a punk. He's a piece of human trash. And there's a...
He saw what he had done to him. He said, I didn't think he was hurt. He walked 6 steps, turned around again to look like, yeah, you're down, buddy,
Yeah.
and drove away. Didn't show up for 4 days later, turned himself in after attending a gala in Wake Forest University.
Yeah, so it really weighed on his mind what he did. Because he doesn't have a conscience, and guys like him don't. And I love that he's, working at a college at Wake Forest and hasn't been terminated yet. But so you said there was two sets of footage, right? One of them, does either one shows actual contact or no?
What you see is him approaching Chandra. You see Chandra's hands go up. You see Jamil's arm go back. And then you see him swing, but you can't see Chandra's face at that point because Jamil's back and muscles are just right there. You see Chandra land, but you only see his legs kicking up and down. So, but you don't see his face.
Your son was what? How tall? This guy was. The basketball coach is like 6'6", isn't he? A 6'4"?
6'6".
About 240 pounds.
Exactly. And my son is 5'10", 170.
Oh, wow. Can we put up pictures of... we don't have the pictures of his... Huh?
Just one second. We can get them.
Okay. We're going to put up some pictures of Shandor Sabo, and we're talking to his mother, Donna. And, I can't imagine, Don. I can't imagine losing somebody, something this senseless. And this isn't like an isolated thing. I've read so many cases since I've been in New York in the last 20 years. I've read a bunch of these things, and yeah, he looks like the type of guy that we banging on windows and breaking windows. That's good, guys. Handsome kid. Can we get Donna back? Donna, So they were cute. They said your son broke his back window, and was any of that true?
None of that is true. Even at our meeting, the DA kept on telling us, and he broke the windows. So finally we said, can we see the tape? And you don't want to see the tape. And we're like, no, we want to see the tape. There is nothing on that tape. So why are you trying to pursue this narrative?
Right.
That somebody else on August 10th, Jamil Jones came out and just started this narrative. His attorney, we weren't even back from New York yet. We were driving home. Just started this story out of all these false things that didn't even happen. And I believe for 21 days they did. So after seeing the tape and seeing that none of that happened, although I'm going to admit my son was definitely drunk.
Of course.
He was so drunk. And Jackie Risk actually said to me, well, you don't want people to see this tape because I asked for the tape to be seen. I want the world to see it. I want the world to see that it's just not a mom protecting her son.
Of course.
I want the world to see what happened because there will be outrage, and the DAs know there will be outrage. They know that if people are allowed to see that tape and they see that none of what was said happened, apparently Chandra in the beginning of the night, he was looking for his Uber, so he was tapping on cars. And then he tapped on one kid's car, and the kid did call the 911. We were able to listen to that tape. The boy was saying, yeah, there's this guy, he's tapping on my window. He thinks he's my Uber, and I'm telling him to go away, and he won't. But he keeps on tapping on my, so he's like, he's still tapping. And they were like, well, are you afraid? Well, I'm afraid to leave my car. What if he hurts it? So, and that was it. But he didn't sound like, oh my gosh. It was just like, yeah, what if he hurts it? So
right.
Apparently then the guy got out of his car and Chandra was walking. And so the guy came up to Chandra and said, hey, what do you want? And Chandra was saying, I want my Uber. So the guy tried to take his phone from him, but Chandra's phone had died. And that's why he couldn't find his Uber. You can track your Uber, but he had lost his cell phone charge. So that's why he was so confused. I don't know where my Uber is. I don't know New York. People are driving by. Maybe you're it. Maybe you're it.
Right.
And so apparently when the guy tried to take his cell phone, Chandra punched out at him. And I'm like, okay, were you hurt? No. But so then that became, oh my gosh, he was punching. And that may have happened earlier in the night. But if we sit there and see a video, 20 minutes of Chandra just standing there trying to get every car to stop.
Right.
There was no contact with Jamil Jones for a second before that moment when Jamil Jones drove by and then decided he was going to take his aggression out on my son. And this is the second time he's done this.
And then before the media had the facts, they ran with the story, making Chandra look like he was the instigator. And they ran with that for weeks.
Forever. I was so upset because, there's so many haters. I got everything. You have to teach your son how to take a punch, or just really mean things all the time. I love me some Jamil. You need to back off. So I'm getting phone calls from people, breathing, saying mean things. And so.
What a filthy, horrible planet we live on. Honest to God. This is after you lose your son.
Right. I don't understand how people can be so cruel.
Well, because we're just slugs. We are the lowest, I swear to God. You're getting hateful phone calls on top of what you're dealing with. Then you find the legal system is not on your side, and so where are you?
Can you imagine? Go ahead. Can you imagine? You have a whole team of very respected attorneys, and they are giving case after case that say this is definitely a homicide. Yet you have DA sticking to a 1983 case that cannot apply in any way to my son's case. People versus Holler, absolutely.
What happened in the 83 case?
It was found to be nothing but a misdemeanor. But it was two guys who actually had gotten into a conflict with each other. One had started it.
Yeah.
Very different than somebody who's innocent just sitting there. It's not a bar fight. There was no words, exchange. There was none of that. No starting to push.
Right.
So, and also, Chandra was absolutely not able to even defend himself. Could have even against a 6'6" college athlete. And so they were like, well, now the DA has been amazing. First they said, oh no, it's New York state law. We have to charge. And then when we brought up all the reasons why it's not, they're like, okay, well, it's really not that. But, we can't place Jamil at the scene. And we're like, excuse me, we just can't place him at the scene. And he admitted to it. And no, he didn't admit to it. His attorneys admit to it. And we can't put his attorney on that. So we're like, okay, A GPS can track his car. If he's admitted, no. Then they kept on changing their mind every time we said, well, that's not correct. That's not correct. And, oh, you don't want, Chandra, any reasonable New Yorker would have punched Chandra. For what? That's before we knew he didn't do anything. So they have changed their story with every reason why are really capable attorneys. So imagine when we're sitting, they refuse to meet our attorneys.
Why didn't they get? Sorry to interrupt you. Why didn't they get back to you? The first 21 days or 20. Did they have an answer for that?
But neither did the medical examiner.
And he ruled it a homicide, right? The medical examiner.
And so did the police detective in charge of the case.
Well,
they both said it's a homicide. But it's up to the DAs have this unbelievable power of what I've learned. There's nobody who watches over the DA.
Right.
The DA, they can do whatever they want.
Right.
So they can apply whatever case they want, and it's usually the easiest route because what if they're like, what if it doesn't stick? Well, I've already lost. At a third-degree assault, I've already lost. So what do I have to lose? I have nothing to lose. They took Jamil Jones took away my son, and now they're taking away my son too. So there's nothing. All I can do is keep on fighting this. And my ultimate goal, even if I can't win for Chandra, because they're being, I just can't understand it. I've got to tell you, the first DAs were taken off the case because they found so many of the things they did to us to be corrupt. And so we were given another set of DAs who equally are doing the same thing in a nicer way. So I'm like, okay, lip service the whole way. You're telling me this, but you're not doing it. So
I'm telling you, it's a symptom of America in 2019. There's people in this country who believe because of past injustices, some people get a. I don't care. I'm sick of hearing about how racist our legal system is. Because that's when I read stories and I hear about stuff, it never goes Whitey's way, in my opinion. I read about gun busts and guys are on the street a year later. They have a rap record this long, and it's just a revolving door. And you're not getting, your son's not getting the respect he deserves. But
who would think that this basketball coach? We all thought it was a thug. When it first happened with
well, he is.
And exactly, he is.
He is.
But,
he's a thug who happens to be a basketball coach.
Well, they're telling us, well, he didn't mean to. It's the intent. He didn't mean to kill him. And so that he wouldn't have known that his punch would have killed him. And so as I've done research, every NCAA basketball coach has to take concussion protocol training. Wake Forest is very big on it. And in that training, they have to learn what happens when there's blunt force trauma to the head. What happens when somebody takes the force?
You don't need training to know that. You can have a third degree. Yeah. But
he knew.
The fact that he used the language white boy, if you reverse it and your son said black boy or whatever, it's a hate crime. It's a hate crime.
Exactly.
You can get into a fight. You can get into a fender bender and beat up some guy, and turns out the guy's gay and you didn't know it. But if you use the word faggot or whatever, it's a hate crime. I just can't help it. The double standard is amazing to me, and it sounds like this thug is being protected. I'm so sorry, Donna, for your loss. We talked about this when it happened, and you're a courageous woman and a strong woman. So keep up the good fight. I hope these lawyers. Fight. Come on. Fight to the end.
I will.
We appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thank
All right.
you.
God bless you, Donna.
Thank
Donna
you,
Kent, everybody. Can you? I just can't. I can't even fathom. I mean, it's one thing when you lose somebody in a car accident but then the legal system and it's racially tainted. I don't give a shit if you think that's bigoted or racist on my part. And I know cops, I know lawyers, and you're pretty naive if you don't think that comes into play. Show me a case where a white guy you dropped the N-word and then knocked somebody out and didn't end up with a hate crime charge. It's the reason the legislation was created in the first place. But anyways, I know it's a heavy subject to open the show with, but, we cover the story, and we always cover interesting stuff, and I just wanted to give her some exposure to, put up we have the Jamil thing, yeah. So this is obviously photoshopped by somebody right after the incident, and whoever put that up thinks he's cool. You want to romp with me? I'm the original Wake Forest Don Dada. And thought, so whoever did that, thinks this guy's a badass when he's a piece of garbage. Well, it's I'm. Anyways, God, my heart goes out to her, but she seems determined. And I'm glad she's got good lawyers. And imagine though the first prosecutor has a record herself, and her boyfriend's a bad cop who was involved in the. Let's lower those standards though, out of fairness. Anyways, 833-599-6425. 833-599-6425. I don't want to go on to other stories because I'm guessing the first few calls will be about this, maybe. I would think. So I don't want to move on to Chinese workers forced to crawl on the street after missing their sales quota. I'm not making that up. And we have some good footage of a CNN panel melting down because Trump made a joke about his wife making salads. And, of course, that's sexist, and he should be burned at the stake for that. Buddy Drew in Virginia, who's a law enforcement guy, wants to talk about his father was shot and killed by two 14-year-old black kids, and the kids got off because his dad was larger than them. Drew, welcome back to the show, buddy. Drew's you're a former cop, Drew? I forget. Sorry. Refresh my memory.
You're still on a job. I got 2 more years.
Your phone's...
Interview. That was awesome, man.
Thank you. Your phone was cutting out there. I hope it'll... So your dad was killed by 2 young black kids?
December 20.
Drew, you're gonna have to Drew, you're gonna have to call back on a better line or something. You're breaking up. We're not hearing anything. Try calling back on a landline or something. Sorry. Too bad. I think he's a former cop. He's called the show before. I don't want to move on. This is I'm in a tough place here. Bad time to put up the gangster hotline thing. Don't do that. But somebody slugs you. What's the difference? That's not a weapon, especially a sucker punch. We have videotape now. You know what I mean? It's one thing to look. I can't even get the girl that sucker punched me after the show. I can't even get her. They have her. That's the first thing the assistant DA said. We're gonna get it down to, I don't even remember now, 2nd-degree harassment. Not even the word assault in it. When it's an assault, I still have a dent in my face. And now she might not do any. She has to go to anger management, and she has mental problems. And if she does that, blah, blah, blah. Again, 2019, she's a chick, I'm a guy. If I punched her, everybody's telling me I should have. Even people, everybody I talk to. But I couldn't even get her charged with what I want to. And I'm not done with her, by the way. Let's go back to Drew. Drew, you there?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Nick. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us about your dad.
This was the 19... Yeah, I'm sorry. 74. My dad's working for a plumbing company right before Christmas. Come home to my brother, my mother, and me. I'm 2 years old. My brother's 5 years old. So it's 14 or black.
Drew, I'm sorry. You keep cutting out, man. I like to talk to you, but I can't. I don't know if you have access to a landline. I mean, it's an interesting story. His father was killed by 2 14-year-old black kids, law enforcement. And let's go to Rich in Virginia, former Air Force guy. Rich, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Nick. Love you, man. September. It was awesome.
I sorry, didn't hear a word of that either.
The direction you're going on.
Okay, I can't hear you, Rich. I got to drop. Guys, is it us?
It's us. I have no idea what's going on. I'm looking at it.
All right. Phone calls are off the table for right now. Technical. Jason, any idea? What?
No clue. We're just going to close it and reopen it.
Okay.
Turn yours off real quick and turn it back on.
All righty.
But yeah, what bothers me about that story is the whole idea of intent. He didn't intend to kill him, so that means he gets off with a lesser sentence. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, that's the law, you know. That's how lawyers keep things going. What am I opening? Backbone again? All right, that's probably not going to do anything, but we'll try. Try back, guys. Those are interesting stories, and they were relative to what we were talking about. Yeah, when you sucker punch him, he doesn't even have the balls. He's 6'6", like 240. The kid was what, 5'10", 170 pounds? Doesn't even, this punk, this human piece of garbage, doesn't have the balls to face him face to face. Real badass. And Wake Forest, you haven't fired the guy yet? Really? But yeah, no, race has nothing to do with it, you know. Crazy. I don't want to move on. The minute I do, you know.
Maybe we could talk about it some more.
Okay, your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I mean, going back to the intent thing, that really bothers me because you try to apply that same logic to someone getting offended. If you say, well, I didn't intend to offend you, it doesn't matter. You offended them. But reverse that with murder. I didn't intend to murder them. And
well,
like,
yeah,
sense.
Words, it's a great point. Words are more dangerous today than actual actions, you know? When you wind up and try, really, and you sucker punch somebody, you're not intending to try. Of course you are. You're not trying to kill. No, just trying to knock them out. Oh, in that case, we all know that knocking somebody out could lead to them banging their head. Let's not make it like it's mutually exclusive. But I don't give a shit what anybody says. When there's black and white involved, there's a racial component, and the legal system is tainted. And I'm sick of hearing how it's tilted towards whitey because there's plenty of these cases. Something like this proves, otherwise. But absolutely ridiculous. We'll try one more time. It might be on our end, guys. Not that we can do, but I'll try Drew again. Drew, the problem might be on our end, Drew, so I apologize, but let's try it again about your dad.
No, I apologize, too, if it's on my end, too, Nick. I don't know, do you hear me right now? But...
Yeah, I can hear you good.
Okay, cool. So at 1974, I'm 2 years old. My brother's 5 years old.
Yeah.
The night before Christmas, my dad's loading up his work truck to come home from work. Two thug 14 and 15-year-old kids try robbing his truck. So my dad instinctively, approaches them to get him away from his truck.
Yeah.
They pull out a gun. They kill him right on the scene. He's dead. And so my family obviously going through the court process and thinking, okay, well, these kids, should be at least go away for a little bit, even though they're juveniles.
Right.
No, my dad was bigger than them, so he intimidated them, and they were children. So they walked, Nick. They didn't do a day in jail.
You got to be kidding.
They walked away. The rest of my life, I didn't have a father figure, me and my brother, my whole life. The whole family was in shambles after that.
And
that's justice.
All I hear about is how it's so racist against people of color, the legal system. But you don't hear these these stories, do you? I mean, look what they did. They tried to.
Where's my white privilege there? Huh?
They tried to bury Donna Kent's story. I mean, they took before they had the facts in. When they had what they thought were the facts, where the white kid, her son, looked like the instigator, they ran with that in a second. And now you probably can't find it. So when the truth comes out about the piece of garbage who actually killed them, there's a racial. Let me ask you this, Drew. Do you agree with me on that? I don't. And again, people aren't going to agree and say it's racist. I just, whenever I see a story that involves race and there's the suspect or the defendant is black and there's black people on the jury, I believe he has a better chance of getting acquitted. I'm not saying all black people.
Look at O.J. Simpson.
I'm not saying all black people.
Look at the O.J. Simpson case.
Well, yeah, you can look at there's plenty of them. I don't know what the answer is, and they'll tell you, well, Whitey does the same thing, and blah blah. This, so, but Whitey doesn't have a chip on his shoulder about what happened 400 years ago in this country. That's all I'm saying.
Nick, when I was working as a paramedic during the O.J. Simpson case, I was working with a black partner.
Yeah.
And we sat in the ambulance and listened to that verdict happen.
Yeah.
And I looked at him, and he looked at me, and he goes, "Hey, man," he goes, "we won this time. You guys didn't."
Yeah.
And that's what he said to me.
Yeah, I
So
covered it.
that,
Yeah.
if that's the feeling, where do we go from there?
Yeah, we don't. I'll say it again. As long as the black community, and again, this is not all black people, but a majority of them.
No.
As long as they hold up slavery, hold that, go keep falling back on that, and that they're owed the world now, entitled to anything. As long as that's the mentality, it's never gonna get fixed. I got to run, Drew. Thank you, buddy, and I'm sorry, I did not know that about
Have a good
you,
night,
Dad.
man.
All right, thank you, Greg Hall. Let's go to Rich, the Air Force guy. Rich, what's going on? Welcome. He just dropped. What the?
I don't know. I got it to work for Drew.
Huh?
Did you kick the answer button or the drop button?
I hit the answer button.
Okay.
Didn't I? Did I not?
I can't tell from in this room.
Get him back. Tell him to call back. I'm moving on to the Chinese workers. We'll get him back. Chinese workers are forced to crawl in street after missing sales target, which
咁樣面對面冷冷靜靜咁樣傾偈，係因為我想
workers for a Chinese company have been forced to crawl on the street after failing to reach their annual target, sparking an outcry among web users. Come on, we should do... Actually, they stole this. Now, the Chinese, I mean, they're stealing secrets, cyber attacks. Remember, what's his name? Ryan fucked up last week. He uploaded the wrong show on Monday, and I punished her. How did the Chinese... Huh? Are they tapping my house, too? Or are they fans of my show? But they had their workers crawl in the streets, and I came up with that before they did. I did this to Ryan. Could be China. Could be a little footbridge. I came up with this, and I'm being ripped off by the Chinese. Better than a septic tank, right, Ryan? How's your knees after that mile-and-a-half trek on cement? It's not a badass. Ryan, you'll never fuck up again, will you?
Never.
Show the Chinese guys crawling.
I've never been on my knees so long.
Yeah, that's a fucking lie. First of all, that's how you got this job. Jace, pull up the... They're under fire. Sure they are. They should start doing this with people at Google. You couldn't get through the goddamn streets. You did not make quota. You sell 5 shrimp. You're supposed to sell 12 shrimp. General Tso chicken down this week. That's kind of sexy. A girl in high heels. I've seen that in front of a bar in Boston when I was in my 20s. Dave in California says the narrative they try to push with the white guy is the bad guy and the black guy is the hero. The Gillette commercial and Drew's story are examples of this. Dave, how are you? Haven't heard from you in a while. What's going on?
Good, bud. How are you, Nick?
Pretty good.
Yeah, I was just, commenting on that, and we got to stop paying taxes for funding these liberal professors in the colleges. This brainwashing with this communist narrative and the old patriarchy, the white guys, the evil old white guys to blame for all this stuff. It's like, Come on, man.
Right. That's where it starts, but it's infiltrated. Do you agree with me? I don't, I'm sorry. If a black guy's on trial, and OJ was a great example, as long as you have white liberals who are the real problem, they're the ones who tell the black people, hey, look, man, you guys are entitled to everything, for past injustice. I'm sorry, they carry a chip on their shoulder. They're the ones who bring up how oppressed they are. So don't call me a racist when I say, well, then you can't be objective when it comes to race if you're sitting on a jury. Right or wrong?
Right, exactly right. And I tell you, I lived in North Carolina for a while, for 15 years, and I'm back in California, helping out my mom, actually, because she needs medical attention. But it's not that way in the South necessarily. This is the elites on either coast.
Yes.
They're liberal, California, L.A., and then New York, and I hear it, but you don't hear it as much down there. You don't hear that reparation stuff down there. You don't. It's a different scene, but you're right. We got to change it somehow, and I think it's effective with people like you and bringing a comedic aspect to it, and that's how people are getting taught and getting red-pilled, so to speak. Through the internet and through. To get them off this narrative, man, because people are waking up to like, hey, this is when thank God for President Trump and him calling out the fake media, because they are the enemy, man. The fake news and this fake propaganda about old white men are the reason why there's so many problems. Bullshit. It's the best Western civilization. It's the best in history of mankind. Has been brought people out of poverty, out of so much.
Oh, wait a minute now, Dave. You sound like Steve King from Iowa, that congressman who's in hot water for saying such things, which I'm sorry, but the guy's exactly right. I don't give a shit. He wasn't touting white supremacy. But he said, why is it controversial to say white national? I say that on stage. Thank you for the call, Dave. Good hearing from you, buddy. I say it on stage. I'm a nationalist, and I think I'm white. I know people think because I have Italian blood in me, I'm not. But everything I check on applications for the last 40 years, white. When it comes to taxes, I'm certainly white. I know that. So, I don't, I don't know. It's slanted. But for the congressman just to ask that question, why is it? I say it on stage. I go, I'm a nationalist and I'm white. But you don't want me to say those words? So the very reality you want me to ignore because the words, you can't control people unless they agree with your shitty word. It's called linguistic bullying. That's what I call it. It is such fucking nonsense. It's like going, I'm Asian and I like rice. But don't say that. That's a stereotypical thing to say about Asian people or Chinese people. Yeah, but I'm actually Chinese and I love rice. It's fucking ridiculous. And that's the right has not come up with an answer to that. The left is, again, because they got their claws into education 40, 50 years ago, they have changed. Again, they control people's behavior. You do that through language. And the left is controlling the fucking language. So when are we all going to stand up and go, suck my dick? I'm not getting kicked off the Oscars because I made a couple of fag jokes. I'm black. My people are oppressed. Fuck you. I'm doing the Oscars. And then what? Oh, they'll be boycotting? So what? Let's have it out. Ay. Oh, and I love when I hear people, and I hear comics. I hear like comics who are minorities going, yeah, this PC thing's killing comedy. Well, it's all benefiting you. Political correctness was invented to shut me up, straight white Christian male. What are you fucking whining about? Oh, yeah, those lesbian comics get in a lot of trouble when they make fun of straight people. And those black comics, they're getting so much trouble shitting on whitey. And female comics, when they go after men, oh, my God, there's picketing and boycotting. But it's white corporate weasels with no spines that give into this shit, But what that guy Steve King said, sorry, don't have a problem with any of it. He wasn't touting white supremacy, but once again, it's the New York Times. The New York Times, takes everything out of fucking context. And he's so dumb to do an interview with the New York Times and not record it on his own. But then the GOP. The GOP people, GOP people are supposed to be on his side. These little fucking rhino weasels, oh, he should be booted immediately. Just fall in line like the pussies that you are. Nothing's ever going to fucking change. Let the left keep controlling the narrative by controlling your language. And on and on and on it fucking goes. 833-599-NICK. The phone number. Oh, how about this? This was a good one. By the way, that poll just came out. I think it was Media Research Center. I'm not sure. But 90%. Last year it was 93. 90% coverage negative on Trump in the mainstream media. But there's no bias in all that horse shit. And who's the fucking worst at that? You know who leads the way, don't you?
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
I know what you did. You're a damn predator.
You guys having a rough day in there? Not really. I mean, CNN panel accused Donald Trump of being sexist Monday night because the president made a joke about First Lady Melania Trump making salads. The president cracked the joke to the national championship winning Clemson football team during their Monday visit to the White House. Here's the footage that have the...
So I had a choice. Do we have no food for you because we have a shutdown? Or do we give you some little quick salads that the First Lady will make along with the Second Lady? They'll make some salads. And I said, you guys aren't into salads. Or do I go out, Lindsey Graham and Tim Scott, do I go out and send out for about 1,000 hamburgers, Big Macs? So we actually...
Now watch how they handle this.
That's appalling. It seems to me like the president will not be happy until there is not one single female Republican voter in the country. It's incredibly sexist. It also, I mean, I don't know why I'm stuck on this, but
because you're a twat.
Ivanka is not the second lady. She is actually.
That's
I don't
not.
think
He
she
was
deserves
referring
this
to you,
position.
dumb
She's actually a senior advisor to the president. So the idea that he would demean her specifically in that way, he shouldn't talk about the first lady that way. We aren't all here to make salads for men. It's disgusting.
Pause. Did he say all you women here to make salads for men? Is that what he said? You fucking leathery-faced dope. Jesus Christ Almighty. That's appalling. It is unfucking... the feminist movement have turned normal women into just... They just sit home and they watch. Oh, my God. He was in front of a bunch of football players trying to be a guy's guy. Okay? And you find that appalling. I find your earrings appalling, miss. Anyways, go ahead.
I mean, I'm presuming he was talking about Karen Pence when he said second lady.
Oh, God, I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
dumb
doing either.
But I mean, Scott, look.
That's crazy.
This is one of those things where sometimes what people say when they're being funny exposes exactly who they are.
Pause.
And what they think.
Yes. Oh, my God, what a horrible concept, being honest while you're doing comedy. That's exactly what it does. You get to speak who you really are. They find that appalling because they're fucking anchor people. Political pundits on shitty cable networks. She literally said, oh my God, when you're being funny, you reveal the truth about yourself. What a gross concept, Miss Burnett. Then, of course, they have to bring on the Republican who I've never seen before in my life. I only watch 78 hours of fucking television a day. Yes, you reveal things about yourself, warts and all. It's called being human, not a fucking talking head. Go ahead.
Not that there was any question, but this is pretty clear.
Oh, yeah. Clear cut.
I certainly didn't take his comments to be sexist. I think that if somebody took them that way, that's
So
fine.
then Mike
Probably
Pence
they want to
maybe
take
could have made
everything
the
that Donald
salads.
Trump says as being
Scott,
as
can I
being
just ask
evil.
you, how in the world do you not perceive that as sexist?
Pause. This is how, you dumb bitch. This is how. He was joking around, talking about his wife. He didn't say all women make salads for their men. That's how. He was joking in front of a college football team, 100 guys. You ever talk off the cuff in your life? No, you haven't. All your shit is on a teleprompter. You read it. You haven't been on. You're fucking in the public eye, and you're never honest. Your job is to fucking read other people's words on a teleprompter. Oh, my God. It's so sad. Is that all you have to do with your life, lady on the left, too? Sit in your never-ending list of fucking whining? Yuck. Back to the show. Go ahead.
Assumption that his wife's going to go make salads for the bunch of football players? What is she, like the cook?
Yeah! She is!
I didn't hear it that
She's
way.
on
I
a
eat
read.
salad almost every
Make me a sandwich. Make me a fucking sandwich.
Go ahead.
Night for dinner. I mean, we make a lot of salads in the Jennings household, and I make some, and my wife makes some.
Does your wife to make them all for you? I mean, maybe she does.
No,
Fine.
I make some, and
Pause.
she makes some.
Maybe she does. She just caught herself. You expect your wife to make all? She even realized what a dumb statement that was. Oh, well, maybe she does. Yeah, there's a lot of women out there, a lot of wives who make great salads for their husbands, and they're happy to do it, you fucking dusty vag. You expect your wife to make a salad? It's appalling. They think we're going to make salads for them. I mean, Jesus, we have Mexicans to pick the lettuce, don't we? Oh, fuck the salad.
Make me a sandwich. Make me a fucking sandwich.
Fucking bitch.
What? Oh, my God. Is there more? Are we done with that? Come on, guys. When I ask a question, can you get on the mic fucking quickly? Jesus.
I'm so sorry.
Go ahead.
There's a little more if you want it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, but that's not what he said.
I didn't take it that way. If somebody took it that way, that's fine. It didn't strike me that way. I think he was trying to make a joke about feeding hamburgers to football players. I think you might be overreading this one.
I'm not overreading it. He made a joke that was sexist about women. I guess maybe what we're disagreeing with is whether it's funny, and whether humor is something that's serious.
I think Scott's disagreeing that it's sexist, which he's entitled to his opinion.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
It's not gonna be a
you
popular
leathery
one.
nipple bitch.
It didn't strike me that way, and I'm not. I'm surprised that you all are taking it that way, but it's fine.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Oh, wow. Look at her. Wow. Get over your vaginas.
Yeah, no, I have to say, I'm.
All right, shut it off before I spit in their faces. Get over your pussies, okay? Jesus. Go make me a Cobb salad. And if the bacon's not right, I'm yelling at Justin, by the way. I mean, Justin. Do we have a Justin?
No, it is Jason.
I meant Ryan. I didn't even mean you, Jason. Oh, my aching stem. Oh, my God. All women make salad. Matter of fact, when I go into this store, my supermarket, to Chico's, they have a whole salad thing behind it, and they make the salad. You pick whatever you want in it, and you know what? All broads work in there, at least when I go in there. And they make the best salads. Jesus, CNN, you have reached the depths of diarrhea. How the fuck you still exist is beyond me. Oh, that's right, Democrats. Watch that shit. What do we got here? House Speaker, speaking of twatzones, Nancy Pelosi took extraordinary step Wednesday of urging President Trump to delay his State of the Union and said, I'll make you a salad if you do it. She wants him to delay the State of the Union address until the partial government shutdown ends or submit the address in writing. And Trump responded to Miss Pelosi by saying,
Make me a sandwich. Make me a fucking sandwich.
Fucking bitch.
The president has been slated to deliver his televised annual address to a joint session of Congress on January 29th, but with no compromise in sight to resolve the standoff over the government funding, a stalemate that extended into its 26th day, blah, 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 blah. On January 3rd, this is Pelosi's letter to the president. On January 3rd, it was my privilege as Speaker to invite you to deliver the State of the Union. We have to fucking wait for her to... You know, I hate that picture because it makes you look cute. I'd like that if that gavel was right up her ass. It's my privilege. I'm inviting you is the point. State of the Union address on the 29th. The Constitution calls for the president from time to time to give the Congress information of the State of the Union. This is her explaining it to us in her condescending liberal douchebag way. Pelosi wrote, but noted that since the start of the modern budgeting fiscal year in 1977, a State of the Union address has never been delivered during a government shutdown. Yeah, how could we do two things at once? How could we do that? The only superpower left on the planet. She concluded, sadly, given the security concerns, and unless government reopens this week, I suggest that we work together to determine another suitable date after government has reopened for this address, or for you to consider delivering your State of the Union address in writing to Congress on the 29th. Oh, it's a security problem? Pelosi detailed the need for proper security at events such as the State of the Union. The anti-gun woman. Oh, you need to be surrounded by guns. Security. The people carry guns that you don't want us to have. You can't be at the dumb speech. Somebody might show up and shoot a bunch of politicians. That's one way to drain the swamp. Not encouraging it. Just saying. Remember the fucking left-wing kook that shot up Steve Scalise? We need proper security. There's nobody there when they do this. You couldn't call the local DC police. Hey, we'll give you triple time or whatever the fuck. There's nobody there to fucking. The doors are gonna be wide. People are gonna be running in, throwing rocks at Trump. I love it though. She brings up security, and again, what she means is people with guns to protect her and her fucking do-nothing colleagues. The U.S. Secret Service was designated as the lead federal agency responsible for coordinating, planning, exercising, implementing security for national special security events, Pelosi wrote in her little chicken old lady scribble hand fucking crayons. However, both the U.S. Secret Service and the Department of Homeland Security have not been funded for 26 days now, with critical departments hamstrung by furloughs. Oh, my God. What are they going to do?
Don't give me that smart alecky shit.
Despite her suggestion to come to an agreement on a new date, Pelosi did not rescind the president's invitation. That decision ultimately rests with her as Speaker of the House. Go ahead, rescind it. You're going to fucking eventually impeach him anyways. Why sit there and when he gives a great speech, you're going to sit on your old wrinkled ass and all your fucking jerk-off liberal friends are going to poo-poo anything good he has to say, and then you'll give a rebuttal, you and fucking Dracula Schumer, looking like two fucking two fucking cardboard cutouts. Look at her with her $1 million per. She's a multi-zillionaire. She pretends to represent the working class, and you people, is that Schumer looking down at his own cock with his glasses? And the guy on the right looks like he hasn't taken a good dump in 3 weeks. And
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Well, let's hope they can do this. You know, last week a tense White House meeting ended abruptly with the president walking out of the room after Pelosi pulled down her panties and showed everybody her giant catcher's mitt. When Pelosi maintained she would not accept a spending package. How about an old wrinkle package with wall funding? Pelosi, after the meeting, said Trump was petulant, and Schumer added that Trump slammed his hand on a table in frustration. He had a temper tantrum, unlike you who cried like a bitch a couple of years ago to get your way. What a dirty little man. This week, Trump instead decided not to invite Pelosi, listen to this, to a border security meeting at the White House. But he reached out to other rank-and-file Democrats to join his lunch with Republican members of Congress. All the Democrats did what? That's right, they declined to come. Why? Because they're gobblers of goo of the fucking... Anyways.
Thank you.
I can't even read anymore. I wish the guy behind her would grab that scarf and tie a nice knot, choke her out. Wouldn't you? Wouldn't that be fabulous? We got that. All right, fellas. Nice going. You got that cranked up. I wonder what Backbone's problem was today. It was just a matter of rebooting, huh?
I rebooted it, and I pulled every wire out and put it back in.
He has to go too far. It was a reboot that fixed it. Let's not kid ourselves. No, you know what? I'm giving you credit, Ryan. Ryan came through. See what happens when I punish them Chinese style? Even though they stole that movie, that music was from Kung Fu, wasn't it?
I'm sorry, Nick.
Is it not better to upload the right show on a Monday than to? That's what the music you guys probably remember, the Kung Fu show. Tremendous show. They should remake it with Nathan Lane and Sandy Duncan.
Can I slip in a super chat?
I'd like to slip my fingers right in your eyes. Yes, go ahead.
So, Northern Jackalope says, Nick, my tribe tossed all of our Gillette razors. No jackalopes will ever use that product again. Jackalopes are not toxic, and we are very hairy.
He says tribe. What does that mean?
I guess his family?
That sounds it could be a Jewish thing. They refer to Jewish people, that tribe. I hope not. That could get the show in all kinds of hot water. The tribe, he says tribe, and he says hairy. I'm going with Jewish. Could be Italian, could be Greek. Yes, I have a bunch of Gillette razors upstairs that I fucking wanted to bring down once again because I have no memory. But Ryan made up big. He fucked up, and he came through.
I'm sorry, Nick.
What's it say? I can't. The cameras are in the way. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm a fucking idiot.
Look he does anything to get his face on the show. He thinks there's a couple of Boy Scouts out there that want to finger pop him behind a dumpster. When we all know it's not a dumpster. It's the bus stop in Yonkers where he meets these kids. Anyways, Florida politician says Rep. Rashida Tlaib, that terrorist whore, might blow up Capitol Hill. A Florida city commissioner is under fire for saying the first Palestinian-American woman, that's a sign that we're finished, ever elected to Congress might blow up Capitol Hill. Well, that's a little over the top.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
That was her family celebrating when she was sworn in. An Islamophobic rant, Holiday Beach Commissioner Annabelle Lima Taub, who is Jewish, compared Rep. Rashida Tlaib, Democrat Michigan, who is Muslim, to a suicide bomber. I love this woman. I love this Jew broad. I got to be honest with you. I do.
Durka, Muhammad Jihad. Haka Sherpa Sherpa, Bakala.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
Durka, Muhammad Jihad. Haka Sherpa Sherpa, Bakala.
Listen what she says. This is the Jewish woman talking about Rashida Tlaib. You know, she's the one who said, there she is, attractive. Aren't they, those Middle Eastern women? Look at that. I wouldn't fuck that face for practice. Got a nose on her like Groucho Marx, fucking goggles. She's got the hands of fucking Tiny Tim and a really ugly, that's considered classy over in Shitville. Anyways. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. This is what the Jewish woman, Annabelle Lima Taub, said about Miss Tlaib. A Hamas-loving anti-Semite has no place in government. She is the danger. I would not put it past her to become a martyr and blow up Capitol. I fucking love it. I'm going to vote for this broad. I don't even live in Florida. Lima Taub wrote that in a January 8th Facebook post, which linked to a petition demanding Tlaib be removed from Congress. The Florida lawmaker's online outburst came in response to a comment that Tlaib had made. Remember when she got sworn in, taking aim at the president, vowing to impeach the motherfucker? Haven't heard much from her since, have we? Why would you draw attention to that face? You look like a tattoo of a clown my friend has on his back. God, are you fucking ugly. And you're probably the hottest thing in the Middle East. Nick, that's unfair. I know. On Tuesday, Tlaib criticized Lima Taub and blamed Trump and his supporters for fueling a political climate where fear and racism thrives. This sort of hateful anti-Muslim rhetoric doesn't happen in a vacuum. No, it happened right after 9/11 when you created a vacuum and your people knocked over the Twin Towers. Yeah, this all happened a couple years ago when Trump became president. You are too dumb. I don't give a shit. You are too dumb. I don't care what your gender is to be leading anything. The president embraced it, and Republicans have happily gone along with it. The Council on American Islamic Relations, that's CARE, they're really a fucking terrorist group. They've supported everybody that wants to kill us. Later called on the Florida commissioner to resign. And she said,
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
That's my good Jew lady. I love her. Xenophobic stereotypes must not be embraced by any elected official. CARE Florida's communications director, Wilfredo Ruiz, said in a statement, what a fucking mishmash this country has turned into. You know what, Mr. Ruiz?
You're a wormy cocksucker, you know that?
That's all I got to say to you. Mr. Ruiz, and he's working for the fucking, it's just, what a clusterfuck, huh? What a mess. Anyways, let's end it on a light note tonight. I bought a pickup truck recently, and I was mad at the guys last week. They fucked up the show, and they were leaving my house, so I got my truck, and this is what I did. I was going after Ryan.
Boulder is now sitting right over here, and then also tire tracks he noticed right by this park.
Guy.
So he looked at the
Guys.
surveillance footage. He says,
What the fuck is that? Go ahead. Let it fuck. What is that? Is that the story, Asp? Wow! I'm going to sit here in dead silence until they fucking figure it out. Did I not give you the order of the show?
Walking on the sidewalk in front of the house, but then 10 minutes later,
I got in my truck.
That I totally did not expect.
Get the fuck.
Be honest.
a driver plows into the group.
There I am.
Someone goes
There goes
flying,
Ryan.
along with a boulder strewn into the road. Another angle.
Yeah, stop it before they show it again, Jason. Fucking, you wouldn't want to see a funny thing twice. What the fuck were you guys doing before the show, anyway?
Setting up all the other stuff.
Am I giving you too much work? Is that the?
Nope.
Is that the excuse? Okay. What would you rate your performance today on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 really sucking.
10 being the worst.
Yes.
I'd give it around 8.5.
All right. All right.
I'd give myself a 10.
That 10 is bad, you realize, right?
Oh, I'd give myself a 1 then.
Oh, my God. See how fucking ignorant he is? You are as dumb as the day. You're as cute as a button, I have to admit, but motherfucker, how did you even get out of high school? Oh, Ridland. I don't want Jason's mother to watch. I want your mother to watch the show so I can scold her. Can we have her on, can we pull her up tomorrow on Skype?
I'll see what I can do.
All right, that's enough. These guys can't handle it. They have their heads up their ass. The fucking sound thing was not their fault, but I don't know. Did I send you the wrong fucking time codes, Jace? What are you doing?
No, I have an excuse, but I figured it wouldn't be acceptable.
Well, what is it?
So it was a video embedded in the browser, and then the browser reset, and so
I don't care about that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's when I'm in the morning and I'm pulling stories and shit. I can't go. This browser thing.
Oh yeah, no, that's not your fault. I just have to keep better track of it.
Yeah, could you please? We already have one Mama Luke in the fucking. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. God damn it. I did the boxes workout, so I'm coughing cigarette shit up that I had 2 months ago. That's what'll happen when you do 10 deep knee bends at once. That is it, folks. You Patreon members, I'll see you tomorrow. The rest of you should subscribe if you'd like to see more hilarity. Remember, you guys think it. I will say it, and you're very welcome. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.